All right.
Hey, we're on. How you doing, everybody? It's Johnny Drive-By here on the Heathen Drive-By, and today I invited the Lavender Lady, Diana, to come on and talk with me. And how are you doing, Diana?
Hi, kids. Yeah, I'm doing just fine right over here. Yeah, not bad. How is it? Let's see. Little bit this, little bit that. Good for me. Good for you. What can I tell you?
Yeah. No, you, well, I can't remember what was the name of that video that I first seen you on. Hans P. Hansen was in the comments there too on it, and I just said,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been the answer to Trent Horn on Are Atheists Open Minded? Does that sound familiar?
a little bit, yeah, yeah. I remember you're doing a debunk video or responding to something that he did or whatever.
Yeah, with Catholic Answers, and you popped up in there. Hey, darling, how you doing? And I was like, all right. And the result of that is I ended up in this wonderful skeptic community, and every one of them is saying, "Oh God, why did you do that?"
Well, maybe I haven't talked to him about that, but might be having cognitive dissonance or something. I don't know.
Because yeah, you noticed me, and then I think very soon after that, Iowan
Yeah, you came
noticed
on.
me.
You were in a live chat in one of my live streams that I did on when I first started the Heathen Drive-By, and I remember seeing you around a lot more after that.
Yeah, Iowan Peter noticed me early. Um, Trying to think of who else was in on the beginning, so you can blame them.
Oh, and you what was that? You were on with Mrs. Snarky and Bionic Dance and who else was
Yeah, Sunday we were doing a live stream on Is Lesbian Erasure a Real Thing? I had noticed an article in The Independent about a number of protesters at London Pride who were complaining about trans people erasing lesbians, if you will. I think they thought that we were trying to force them to have sex with us or something like this. And I'm thinking, no, no,
it?
I don't know about the rest of us, but that's not me. And it turned out that there were a lot more of us that felt the same way. Now, unfortunately, that live stream got interrupted. We had a thunder shower here, and lightning hit a power pole.
uh,
So I'm looking at picking that up again. So far, the tentative 95% go time is this coming Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll pick up where we left off, and there's another person coming in, uh, a cis lesbian friend of mine out of Buffalo, who has some very pointed opinions on just about everything. So she might make a great addition to this. And the way I'm looking at it, I'm starting to think, and of course that's trouble when I do that. Always, I'm wondering if this might not be a good thing to make a regular or at least a semi-regular occurrence, because I've wanted to get into LGBT advocacy. So maybe this is a chance.
social media is a good way to become active. I mean, it made it a lot easier, that's for sure. Because now you don't have to pack up a whole bunch of groceries and clothes and camp out for a week. Drive
Yeah.
500 miles.
Oh my. How's everybody doing out there? Hey,
Yeah.
Spooky. Island's here. Yay. So if Island's here, Snarky's here or no?
It's hard to say. I haven't seen her yet.
And I see your comment, Peter. I was lucky to be one of the first Lavender Lady. I've never had any regrets meeting you either. Well, give it time, Peter. Give it time. Oh my. Snark is a snob. Why is she a snob? Come on. For the love of Saint Gulick. I don't know about this. And there's an N with one
Hey,
N. Oh, there's Snarky. Hi, sweetie. How you doing? Yeah, I'm just being crazy over here. Don't mind me. I haven't. No, I did take my drugs, so I don't know why I'm still screwed up. Hey, Faye, how you doing? Oh my. Yeah, I'm just waiting for another 3 days. When that big day comes, number 61.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here I got something to share here.
Okay, does
I
that
just got
mean?
my 50-year pin from Catholic Order of Foresters today.
Oh
I've never sent anything to him. I mean, it's just funny. 50-year pin.
no! I didn't know you were that old.
Obviously, they're trying to indoctrinate me because I'm 50. So, it's just funny.
It's been a long time since I've been a Catholic. I'll tell you that.
I never was.
I have no regrets about taking off. Now I like to tell people. I like to tell people I gave up Catholicism for Lent about 40 years ago, and I never looked back.
Actually, my grandma's sister, she's like a but an assistant, living assistance or whatever. But she's like 87. She's an atheist too, and I want to do an interview with her really bad before I can't do it anymore. And
yeah,
I just
get you.
Trying to get some questions piled together and actually do an interview with her. It's probably gonna be hard to do because she's hard of hearing and can't see very well anymore. But
well, we can give it a try because it would be really good to have the input of some of the older folks. There are a lot of young folks in the movement, but there are a few of us Precambrian types.
I want to say I'm like the drier younger period or something like that.
Can I have that one again, Johnny?
The younger Dryas period, or whatever the hell it's called. I can't remember that area, but I'm a little bit younger than that, than the Cambrian.
Okay, I got you. Oh my, I'm trying to think now. We'll have to ask Aaron.
I guess so.
And by the way, he is a big sweetie. He is as big a sweetie as I have been told. Because I don't know how many know. I am a regular on The Place, NGG Studios. Johnny, you know about them.
Yep.
Sunday night, we talked to Aaron Raw, and that was a very, very wonderful discussion. Aaron is a terrific person. Next thing I want to do is meet him in person, buy him a beer.
I have met him in person out in LA. I got to see him on his book tour. He was where was it? It was just south of the park, a park out in West Hollywood, somewhere around there. But yeah, he's a real good guy, real nice guy, really nice guy.
And he's so knowledgeable in his fields, in the biology, the paleontology of the evolution thing.
He's the most knowledgeable layman there is, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Not at all.
He remembers. He retains all that. You know, I can't retain information like that at all. But he's got a photographic memory or something like that, or something where he just remembers everything that he hears and sees.
I mean, I've watched him on video in discussions, shall we say, with opponents, and this is just totally cold, non-scripted, none of that, and he's coming out with all sorts of information. I mean, citable. It's all there. It's coming out of his head. How does he do? I can't remember my own name half the time, and I got it changed a couple of years ago. It's on my driver's license, but still, you know. We have any comments out in the wide world? Oh, Iowan says he was naked. Okay, what the heck is that about?
All right, Iowan. I was thinking about that when I first met the Godless Iowan. Him and I did a live stream together, and then this one person kind of came in and crashed the stream or whatever. But I think me and the island have to have a live stream and do another one the right way coming up soon.
I'm almost afraid to ask what the right way is.
Yeah, exactly. I've been thinking about the word normal. Anybody that uses that, well, why use it? What is normal?
Well, hang on. I shouldn't be smoking, am I? I mean, coming from the field I come from, being the sciences, math, normal means something to me that it doesn't necessarily mean to a lot of other people. Now, you've got that normal curve, the normal distribution. I mean, that's what it means to me. It's nothing more than the frequency of occurrences of some particular phenomenon. But no, that's not the colloquial thing. I mean, it's based in that, but there is a how do I want to put it? A moral, not a moral. Do you know where I'm coming from here? An
I want to say,
aspect of acceptability, non-acceptability.
yeah, I was going to say that normal to me actually means the good Christian family or whatever that's gonna with the white picket fence and all that. That's kind of
Well,
what
we could have an entire discussion about that too.
yeah. I mean, that's sort of the way it's that and I guess that's what I'm thinking of there.
Because the traditional Christian family isn't quite what people think it is. You look through the Old Testament, and a rapist can marry his victim. A man can have multiple wives and multiple concubines.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's traditional, kids, and that's not quite what the right is talking about in public, at least. I know what they do in their private time isn't necessarily what they talk about.
That's right. I see Jen with one end stepped on a nail today.
Oh no!
I know. I'm sorry to hear that. Tetanus shot and a sore arm too. She says.
Yeah, those tetanus shots hurt a little bit.
I haven't had my tetanus shot in long enough time either. So I should probably get that done too. Nothing like lockjaw to ruin your day.
I feel you, Jen, because I remember stepping on a couple of nails while I was trying to upgrade that house a few years ago, and that was not fun. So I'm definitely feeling for you on that one. Alrighty then.
I am.
Yeah, let's give Jen our condolences or whatever you want to call that.
One of the ladies got that syringe up there, and he.
Oh man, those scooters around the grocery stores. Yes.
When you're a regular on NGC Studios, aren't you? Every Sunday or something like that.
I am a regular with them. Yeah, I will do 4 shows a week. On
4 shows a week. Wow.
The regular schedule when we hold to it, and we can get to that in a minute. There's a show at let's see, 9:30 a.m. Central, followed by one at 10:30 a.m. Central. Then there's one at 7 p.m. Central. That's Sunday. And then on Wednesdays, we have a show 7 p.m. Central. So yeah, it's a full schedule. I mean, I'm not complaining. I love it. But what the hell is Sylvia doing? Iowyn says she's being naughty. What are you doing, little one? Get over here.
I'd definitely like to get Dr. Jones on for an interview, and Bob too, probably.
Yeah, I've given them your particulars to get in touch with you, and I suppose I can poke them a little bit to remind them, but the rest is
yeah. I mean,
the rest is up to them, basically.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, Matt. She always does that. I'm gonna have to move that damn plant. She ate a Fittonia all the way down to the soil, and then broke the pot. I love the kitty. I love the kitty. I love the kitty. I really do.
Keep telling yourself that.
Yep. Oh, she's a good kitty. She's not always nice, but she's a good kitty. Um, oh, there she is under the. Get over here, will you? Yeah. Oh, come on. I was going to pick her up, but she's not up for that. What do you mean? Wow. Don't give me that. You know you're a camera whore. Get over here. Nope, didn't work. Didn't work. But I found her as a stray a couple of years ago, behind the apartment building where I lived at the time, and I went to take the garbage out um, to the dumpster behind the building, and I hear meow, 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 and I'm looking around. I'm looking around. Finally, under a car parked, I happened to see something that looked vaguely cat-like, but I couldn't get to this cat. So after a while, I sort of gave up, went back into the apartment. A couple of days later, I was out back again, and here's this little kitten walking around in the deck area, if you want to call it that, beyond the building. And I'm thinking, okay, do I? Don't I? Do I? Don't I? Oh hell yeah! Ran into the apartment, grabbed a can of tuna, brought it back out, opened. She stuffs her face into it as if she hasn't eaten in 5 days. I let her do that for a while, picked her up, picked the can up, back into the apartment. She devoured that entire can of tuna in one sitting. Um, and now I can have the door to the apartment open, and she looks at it, and she looks at me. Hey, human, door's open. You might want to close it. So I hope she likes it here. I hope that means she likes it here. Do you like it here? Do you like it here, huh? Little one. Oh, don't be that way.
She cannot have a raccoon, Gallows Island said.
There were quite a few raccoons in that dumpster back there.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, there were at times 3 or 4 of them. Looked like a family.
Got a few, well, actually got a lot of wildlife living around here, but they don't really get into the garbage around here anyway. I'll get talking about you now. Where did
Yes,
you all
dear.
where did you all grow up at? Where did what's your whole story? Tell us your whole biography.
Oh my! I grew up in lovely Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, the mistake on the lake, or the best location in the nation, depending on who you're talking to. Um, Grew up there, lived there for 31 years. Um, it's a lot like Pittsburgh, except for the football predilections, if you will. I'm not a football fan anyway, but there's a demographer I know that drew a line around the area from Cleveland to Pittsburgh with Youngstown in the middle, called it Cleveburg, because he saw it as all the same. Um, I grew up in a Slovak Polish household. My babka, my paternal grandmother, had raised 4 kids during the Great Depression, so there was a lot of that still left over, even though I'm growing up in the 1960s, especially with cuisine. It was simple fare, that sort of thing. She was a wonderful woman, better parent to me than her son ever was. Um, Better parent to me than her daughter-in-law ever was. I miss her terribly. She died 1986 at the age of 94. She's the one who taught me to bake, to cook, to embroider. Basically taught me about life.
Mm-hmm.
And a very, very, very good woman. Then back in '88, I came out to Pittsburgh to be with someone. That lasted a year, and I'm still here. I mean, partly because I couldn't afford to leave, and partly because where else was I going to go? I mean, there was nothing for me anywhere else really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in September, I will have been here 30 years, and it kind of makes my blood run cold a little bit when I think that in 2019, right around Labor Day, I will have lived half my life here. It's like, oh my God, I never thought that was going to happen. Um, I mean, not that Pittsburgh's horrible or anything, um, until you hear people going Dan Tan and then back to the Hass and go Steelers. I was like, oh, please.
Yeah, Madden ruined it for everybody with the Steelers, didn't he?
Like I say, I'm not a football fan. I'm a baseball girl. And
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of a football fan, but not fair weather. Maybe I guess is the best way to describe me. It's
I
a,
guess the coaches, when I was in junior high school and high school, they all wanted me to play football. I was a big kid. I mean, I'm 13 or so, and I'm like 5'6", 5'7", maybe about 175 pounds. So, I mean, I wasn't the tiny middle schooler or anything like that, but I just never saw the point of it.
yeah.
Kind of like Carlin when he would complain that about 11 guys lining up against 11 other guys and beating the shit out of them and taking their land. Uh, I wanted to be a pitcher in the worst way. I wanted to pitch in the worst way, and unfortunately, I did. That did not quite work out. Maybe I should have tried to be a catcher, but my love of baseball started. Oh crap! I think my love of baseball probably started in 1961 um, with Roger Maris going for the single season home run record. So I definitely remember following that. And I'm 4 years old. Um,
I can see that getting somebody excited.
yeah, that. And also, when I was 4, I was glued to the television watching the CBS coverage of the Flight of Friendship 7.
Cool.
And that stayed with me, for the remainder of my life up till today. And very, very likely until I finally die. Um, and the really, really nice thing about that is that NASA gave me a terrific birthday present when I turned 12. I'm sure everybody already knows about this, but just once more for the record, I will be celebrating the 61st anniversary of my birth and the 49th anniversary of the first man lunar landing simultaneously.
Cool. Oh, speaking of birthday, Mrs. Snarky's birthday is coming up here tomorrow, I think. Happy,
Tomorrow, yes.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday if I forget tomorrow, and I certainly hope I don't. Um, um, July 17th, that was the birthday of my late sister as well.
Okay.
So maybe it's a little bit easy to remember Snarky's birthday that way. Um, yeah, Anne Marie and I were, let's see, three days short of 4 years apart.
Okay. That's about what me and my brother are.
And unfortunately, she had a burst cerebral aneurysm back in 2007.
Oh.
And that sort of put an end to that life. She had just turned 46. And
That's
all
young.
I can say is I hope that her last thought was of her Jesus. Because I like to tell people that the slimy bastards raised the two of us, Roman Catholic. She found Jesus. I found Carl Sagan. Yeah, she went full on Pentecostal.
Oh no.
Oh my, she would tell stories when she was living in Columbus, Ohio, going to a church service on Sunday. And then people from that service would go to the local Denny's and they were speaking in tongues and rolling on the floor, slain in the spirit in the Denny's. And they didn't get asked to leave.
I've been wondering, are scat singers, are they Pentecostals? I'm thinking about writing a song with using a Pentecostal. Probably Godless Iowa. He'll have to do some speaking in tongues for me.
Yeah, he'd be a good one at that. Well, I do a little bit of that myself, but it was never from Pentecostalism when I was a kid. I just started playing with sounds and language and everything else like that. And it turned into something like and I have no idea what I just said.
I don't
None.
think anybody does.
Matt, you have any idea? Yeah, Dr. Obvious, the kitty's here. She's waiting for me to unwrap this piece of candy. Because when I throw the wrapper away, if I throw it into the ashtray, she will still dig it out of the ashtray. So I'm not going to do that. I am just going to bonk her in the face with it. Right, Sylvia? Yeah, you're looking. You see, all those eyes are wide open. I bonked her in the nose. All right. She's, like I say, she's a good kitty. She's a good friend. We have extended conversations. I talk to her. She talks back. Half the time I recognize what she's saying.
Well, there you
I
have it.
worry about myself because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, pets are pretty relaxing. They make your blood pressure drop.
I've been had by kitties half my life. Always remember, you don't have a cat. The cat has you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the dogs are different. You can kind of know you do this, you this, and then the cat's like, fuck you.
I think the only reason she keeps me around is because I have the opposable thumbs for opening the tuna cans.
Ah, there you go. You see?
Yeah.
It's her evil plan to have you open her tuna cans for her.
But I don't know, maybe about 26, 27 when I got my first kitty. Well, my first kitty got me, actually. Me and my wife. Yes, I was married at one time. Um, lasted about 8 years. And I was a bit of a jackass. Um, not the most honorable person on earth. But yeah, that ended. And then I was in an unofficial marriage sort of thing with another person for 11 years. That didn't work out, unfortunately, either. Um, there were some problems. Probably shouldn't go into them on the air or anything, but
Yeah, you can
it,
put them in a book.
yeah, it wasn't the greatest relationship on earth. I'll tell you that. I think half the reason I stuck around might have been because I didn't think I deserved anyone else, anything better.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I've been alone 9 years, and that's been I think it's been a good thing. So I finally started to come into my own. Um, I can do things that I couldn't do back when I was with somebody. For example, I viewed the total solar eclipse last year, and that would have been a little difficult with a full time partner. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
maybe we would have done it, but maybe not. But I just decided I'm going to go. Took a couple of years to try to save up enough to do it, and stopped in Chicago for 3 days. Went down to Carbondale, Illinois, saw the total solar eclipse, came back home, and it was just a liberating feeling. I mean, I was actually doing something for myself by myself. I'd never done that before. Um, so I guess it's got something good going for it.
I don't remember ever not being independent. I've always been. I've been single for quite a few years, so.
Okay, because yeah, I had the big problem with I wanted acceptance, approval, Well, I still do, but not quite as much as I did then. And like I say, I don't mind being alone. I do hate being lonely. Now, there's a difference
Oh
there.
yeah, there's a huge difference there.
But there are enough things standing in the way. I mean, one of them being the subject of the talk this past Sunday, and as I say, we'll pick it up again. Um, it seems like a lot of people don't want to date a trans person, and sometimes it's personal preference, which I get. Other times, it seems to be some sort of, if you want to call it prejudice, if you want to call it bigotry. I mean, especially the people who tell us, if you have a penis, you're not a woman. And unfortunately, a lot of us can't afford to do something about that. I mean, if $100,000 would fall out of the sky into my lap, I'd be right on it. You know that, but unfortunately, that's not the case. So what do you do?
I don't even know if
I
anybody
see
wants
we've
to date
got a
me.
little bit of discussion about that on the side. That's a good thing.
I don't even
Anyway,
know
Johnny, you were starting to say something.
I don't even know if anybody wants to date me. So there you have it. So
I date myself when I talk about certain things, but that's not the kind of dating we're talking about right now.
no, I've given up on it anyway a long time ago. So
Yeah, have a second here. There we go. I love this kill switch. I didn't have one on my last headset, and it was a pain in the arse to cough when I had to. But yeah, I could just reach up here, hit the switch, and I'm all set. And now I forget where the hell I was. I have the memory of an elephant. What's an elephant got to remember?
I don't know. Last year's watering hole.
Oh, Jen's got a pup in her lap. Well, that was a while ago. I don't know if the pup is still there. And
Jen says she'll be nuts when Alan's gone, and she'll be alone.
oh my,
I'd be loving that if I had the place to myself for like a week, just 2 days.
yeah.
Out loud.
Like I say, there are pros, there are cons.
I'm somebody that likes being in my own thoughts, though. I just like to be in my own thoughts. I like thinking. Whether it does anything special or does any good is a different thing, but I just like it. That's what I enjoy doing.
I was observing myself a few days ago. I think I posted about this. Just quietly making dinner. And, I got an idea of where I was, what I was doing. And it hit me that that was something that I could not have done a long time ago. I was always needing somebody around. And I would take what I would get for that. And that ran into a few problems. So at this point, I mean, given a choice between being with somebody totally incompatible and being alone, I guess I'll take being alone.
For darn sure. Yeah, I've seen too many people that they don't really get along. They just tolerate each other, basically. It's too many people I've seen like that.
I like it, Snarky. If Matt was gone, I would go nuts too. Who would I pick on? Come on, Matt, defend yourself.
And Matt would be saying, "Who's going to pick on me?"
Oh my. Yeah, Mrs. Snarky, you knew that the blog was supposed to explain the get the L out thing, but it really didn't. Yeah, I'm with you there. There was a link dropped into the comments on that one, and I looked at the link, and no explanation in there. It was just a bunch of assertions. So I'd like to pick up on that, if you
Hmm.
don't mind, if the other guys don't mind, and just
Stupid lightning storms.
yeah, well, that too. That's the unfortunate thing. We lost power a couple of times within about 4 days. Um, and with my machine, I don't know. I don't know about you Windows users, if you have to go through this or not. Um, I'm running Linux. If the machine is not shut down properly, then it goes through a mandatory check of the file system. And I've got two hard drives aboard this thing, a 1 terabyte and a 4 terabyte. And it'll take half an hour to go through that file system check. And then if something bad turns up, you just turn white and then try to figure out what to do about it. Happily, most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sylvia, why are you reaching for my cigar butt? Yeah, I'll find cigar butts under my bed.
I've finally got to have a Cuban cigar. Last summer, my brother worked in Cuba for a while on a movie set. He brought when they had an after party or whatever. A couple of the guys that came back from there had smuggled them in, so to speak, or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't it still illegal to bring this stuff
I think they lifted the embargo on there a little bit. A little bit of that's been lifted.
in? Because I know years ago. Damn it, I really should quit. Oh, well. Years ago, you used to get stuff from Cuban Seed. I remember that. Or you would import through Canada, which had its own problems in doing that. This is when I was young, 60s, 70s, something like that. So the thing I want to see done is at the moment, rather than worry about Cuba so much, let's worry about Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Because last I checked, they're still living in what, fourth world conditions, if you want to call it that.
And yeah, there's a lot of bad things on there, but tough living, I should say, not bad things, just tough living. I don't
You
know.
have to. But
That's one thing that I don't like about the Catholic Church is that, I mean, they're saying that birth control is such a bad thing or whatever. I mean, well, I guess a lot of Christian sects are that way or whatever. But the Catholic Church pretty much promotes abstinence or whatever else, and that just does not work.
yeah, they don't like abortions.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's up to them, I suppose. But if you want to reduce the number of abortions, the best way to do it is to provide access to affordable birth control.
Or
They
like
don't like that either.
or like Kate said, lesbian.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That was funny.
That I like. A friend of mine says the same darn thing. Was talking about seeing a doctor not too long ago, and was asked, are you pregnant? Might you be pregnant? No. Are you sure? Yes. How are you sure? I'm a freaking lesbian. They still don't quite get it. But I was so happy about that. My friend Cassia got engaged last month to a very, very dear person. They'd been on and off for about 15 years and finally decided that, yeah, this was it. Let's do it. And Jesse is an absolute dear. Those two are a match made in, well, someplace nice. Okay. But yeah, at least they've got some time together rather than regretting having not got together once they're in, oh, I don't know, their 60s. I just picked that number out of the air for no reason.
Disclaimer: this number might not be.
Yeah. Oh, that's a funny thing. When I was young, I remembered thinking, at the turn of the 21st century, I'm going to be 43 years old. So I thought of myself in my 40s. Never thought of myself in my 50s. And for damn sure, never thought of myself in my 60s. Didn't even think I'd make it. But here I am.
I got my 50-year pin.
Oh man.
I made it to 50, so.
But the funny thing, and I guess I kind of like this in my own way, I'm constantly taken 10 to 15 years younger than I am. And if it happens to come out, yeah, I'm 61 or not, well, not quite. I will be on the 20th. And so, oh, I never thought of that. I thought you were about 50, 51. And so, thank you.
Oh, Jen with one end said they wanted to make as many new Catholics as possible, and I think that is very true too.
That is, yeah.
Or spread and multiply, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, be fruitful, multiply, and toss into the collection plate.
Yeah, tithing coming your way.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. At least when I was there, the Catholics never had tithing. They just had the collection basket, sometimes twice a Sunday.
To me, tithing is pulling your belt tight enough so that it quells the hunger pains.
There you are. I mean, George Carlin did a great routine on this about the special collections. I mean, you'd have your normal Sunday collection where you dropped your dollar or whatever it was into the basket, and then they'd send it around again for some special thing, like the bishop wanted to buy himself a young boy or something.
Or we gotta move a bishop to a new hiding place.
Something like that. And there's the damn thing. When I was young, I was an altar boy. I never got molested. I kind of feel left out.
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's the kind of left out that you want to. I can think of better things to get left out from.
But yeah, we would sample the altar wine in the back. Decent stuff, actually. But I'll tell you,
the Catholics probably have really good stuff. I mean, that's kind of what they did for a long time. The monks started wine for a long time.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you, of the people I know, and I think about the percentage of the people I know who happen to be alcoholics, the percentage of those alcoholics who are also Catholic priests is pretty damned high.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of priests that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of drunk priests. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Wonder Lady desperately needs a bath. Shall I send Sylvia over and she can give you a bath? Or wait a minute, you've got Patsy. Will she do that? Iowan was Catholic for a week. Too much exercise.
Stand, sit, kneel. Stand, sit, kneel. Oh man, it's freaking dance.
That's the funny thing, though. When you look at that, I was raised in a Roman Catholic household. Was not religious at all. They wore their Catholicism as an identity badge. Us versus them.
Yeah.
I remember him yelling and screaming one day about Barack Obama, who he absolutely hated. He's not even Christian. And it's like, Dad, yeah, he is, really. But there was, if you didn't do it the way he did it, it was wrong. And the way he did it was the Roman Catholicism pre-Vatican II.
Well, I know. Well, one thing that I remember is one of my friends got married at at the Catholic Church, and I mean, I never went to the Catholic Church, but it's one that I was supposed to go to. But the ceremony was like long. It just never ended. Like,
Mhm.
holy shit! Let's get to the freaking party and booze it up. And
Oh man.
rituals. The Catholics have them.
I was thinking something and I lost it. Well, that's what happens when you get old. The
Yeah.
memory is the second thing to go, and I forget what the first is. It was something about the Catholics, but I'll come up with it at some point.
Uh,
Um, I don't know. Okay, purple rhymes with orange. Was raised in a Catholic church until the priest asked my mother to stop bringing me. I unfortunately went through the Catholic school system. Not the entire way, but third through sixth grade, I was in a Catholic school because, well, basically because Babka had said, you know, you got to have him in the Catholic school. I mean, she wasn't terrible about that sort of thing. I mean, she thought that was a good thing. I mean, she really did think it was a good thing. The problem, though, was when you're in a Catholic school, I don't know about any other places, the different one is immediately a target, not only from the kids, not only from the lay teachers, but even from the penguins. I mean, they'd be all over you if you were just a little bit different than everybody else. And god damn, I was different. Um, so it was nonstop bullying for let's see, 4 years, um, until I finally actually put my foot down and said, I'm not going back. And
yeah.
get me into the public school system, for Christ's sake. Um, but I don't know. I talked to Dr. Jones, and he talks about the parochial education of it being a good classical education. And I've asked him more than once, where the heck did you go? Because that wasn't what I saw.
Well, I mean, I remember you tweeted something, or actually, it was Wonder Lady asked that question a while back on Twitter about the difference between. It kind of got to me because I'm like, well, there's a difference between religious studies and actual theological studies or whatever, but learning theology or whatever, teaching theology in school. Theology is a whole different thing than religious studies. Religious studies is a separate category where you're studying it without being involved in the religion. And can a teacher, can a Christian teacher teach Christianity without having that bias and teaching it, and saying, well, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so.
I don't know if they can or not. All those that I knew won't. And yeah, it finally came back to me that the Catholics are actually responsible for my deconversion, in what they did. I remember being in a CCD class. This is Confraternity of Christian Doctrine. Think of it as Sunday school for the older kids, because I was in the public school system, and they said, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Okay, great. One day, the subject was euthanasia, and the instructor described a scenario of an old man, terminally ill, in horrendous pain, begging for the release of death. Then went up and down the aisles, desk after desk. What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? And of course, the answer was always the acceptable one. Let him suffer. Comes to me, and the first thing that came to my mind was, well, I mean, I'd really hate to see this guy continue to suffer. And before I was even finished with that, the guy screamed, but it's God's will. I looked at him, didn't say anything, but I was thinking, what kind of God would have that as part of his will?
Yeah.
and I was about 11 years old. Cracks started forming then. Took a while. Took about 10 years, but finally got to the point where, yeah, I could not see any reason to accept any of their drivel. And okay, I guess I am an atheist, aren't I not?
I didn't have any trouble with that. I was taught when I was a kid that I was gonna rot in the ground with the worms. So
It's kind of nice. I mean, to me, it's kind of comforting to think that I'm simply not going to exist
yeah,
once I die.
here's
I
the
mean,
thing. We know what we can all imagine what it's like before we were born, before we started having a concept of a memory. So I know what it's like to not exist.
yeah, no, I have interesting times when I think about this stuff from time to time. And I always catch myself thinking, okay, I die. What's it going to be like? And then I have to stop myself and say, well, wait a minute. It's not going to be like anything. There's not going to be anybody there to perceive it. But
Be
there's the thing is that all I know is perception. I mean, before I existed, there was no me. Then um, the student nurse and the intern got together in a medical supply closet and conceived me. Then I start to exist and I start to look around and see things and think about things. And that's all I know at this point. And it's just an interesting thing to think about that there's going to be a time when that's not going to happen. Like I said, I don't mind, really. I don't mind the thought of being dead. Getting that way, okay, that's another point entirely.
oh,
I
it's
mean, I don't want it to hurt too much. Okay.
yeah. There you go. I was gonna say it's all about this suffering that you'd have to go through before you hit death. I mean, there's going to be a point where that might happen. You know.
Because I know of several people who did not have a good time of dying.
Well, there's there's painful ways to die. That's for sure.
Um, I'm just kind of hoping that either I die peacefully in my sleep, or maybe maybe a rock falls from the sky and then squishes me flat, and I don't have time to think about it.
Well, now we've depressed everybody. Let's talk about something a little more cheerful.
There we go.
um,
Oh, I see, Iowa, the worms are going to eat you, son. I wish I could remember the Undertaker skit from Monty Python.
oh wow, yeah, I vaguely remember that.
You know, the worms eating at you, nibble, nibble, nibble. Or they could cremate you, crackle, crackle, crackle. God, that was so much fun.
Oh, Monty Python is awesome. I grew up watching Monty Python Flying Circus.
Mm. I didn't get to see that until I was in my 20s.
Oh, okay.
The local PBS station started running Monty Python late at night. They also ran Doctor Who late at night. That was the first time I got to see any of that. As I say, in my 20s. I missed out on a lot of shit when I was a kid. But, oh well. I get to do stuff now, kind of, when I can afford it. Um, what do we have here? Purple Rhymes with Orange says, I want to die in my sleep like my grandfather did, not the terrified screaming of the other people in the car with him. Right on. No, I mean, not to blow myself up or anything, but I mean, I've looked death in the face, let's see, 3 or 4 times already. Um, so I don't know. It's not that scary a thought. I mean, when I was 15, I was held up looking at the business end of a 38 revolver. Um, and I was 19. my car rolled over, and when I regained perception, because I didn't perceive the rolling over, but when I gained perception, the arm of my jacket was all covered with grass and mud. So the window had broken out, and I was dragging along the ground. So, who knows? It could have been that I could have been, pulled out the window and crushed under the damn car. Um, then there was cranial surgery when I was 18. And then I was attacked by a bunch of kids just a few years ago, hitting me on the side of the head with rocks. So that last time when the kids attacked me, I actually remember, okay, I'm prepared to die. So I guess I'm kind of coming to, what do you want to call it, an acceptance that it's going to happen at some point. I'll
Yeah.
make another video on it one of these days.
Yeah, I think when I was a teenager, I probably didn't care about whether or not I lived or died, because that was pretty nuts. But I don't know. I guess I don't even really think about it, to be honest with you. When it happens, it happens. That's the way I look at it. I just like I said, like you said, and I said, it's the journey to get there. That's
Yeah, I mean, when I was young, I never really thought about it.
yeah.
I mean, I guess I saw myself as immortal.
I think everybody does. You don't when you don't well, you don't expect to be dying anytime soon when you're a teenager, I guess. So.
Hmm. I even though sorry about that. Even though a friend of mine had hung himself, or had hanged himself, I should say. Let's get the grammar right here. Um, this was when I was about 6 or 7, and he was, I think, 12 or 13. So I knew about the young kids dying, but I put that in a drawer and didn't think about it for years and years and years. Um, and I'll just take it as it comes right now. I mean, I hope most of it's reasonably nice, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, I'm thinking about the best one that I ever heard of was this is what my friend's dad was just asleep in his easy chair with a drink in his hand. That's how he died. Drink just sitting on.
Okay, I'm
So
all for that. I wouldn't
that's
mind that at all.
and I was like, "Yep, that's it for me. That's how I want to go." Can't see.
Or make like FDR and die in the saddle. Because the story goes that Franklin Roosevelt died with his mistress. She didn't die, but he did. And just take it from there.
Oh yeah, my mom was talking about that a while back. Remember, she was telling me about that a while back. I have to ask her about that again.
Um,
Didn't she? Yeah, she wrote a book or something like that about the affairs that she had with him or something, right?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so you have your scandals going further back than just 20 years, but
since since there was a hierarchy established, I think that's how far scandals have been going back.
it's just that the scandals have been getting worse lately.
You know what? I think that it's just more. We're just seeing it more because it's more people are able to expose it or whatever. I think anyway. The problem is other people being able to obfuscate basically or whatever, using rhetoric to make people think that it's okay.
There you go. And I like Jen's comment. I have a feeling Bill Clinton will die that way. I don't know. Is he being a good boy now, or is nobody? Is it just that nobody's talking about it?
Probably nobody's talking about it.
Is I mean, I have to admit, my marriage fell apart because I was a serial philanderer.
Uh-huh.
But I do see that that was not exactly nice. And I'm understating it here. I
It's
mean, when you're talking about a breach of trust, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing there. It's the trust thing or whatever. Just because you're doing that, if your other person would know that you're doing it, it'd be different. But uh, if people aren't honest about that kind of stuff, you keep that to yourself or whatever, yeah. See, I hate relationships.
Um, at least I can be kind of happy that my ex-wife died not hating me. It was kind of funny. Um, I had rejoined Mensa while I was living here in Pittsburgh, and I went to a couple of the RGs, which are the weekend conventions. And I was at an RG here in Pittsburgh, and I'm standing around in the hall. I'm talking to somebody, and I hear over my shoulder, Eddie! And I turn around, and there's this woman running at me full speed to give me a bear hug. And it's like, hi, Sandra. You mean you don't hate me anymore? and we had a nice time catching up because it had been, I don't know, about 10 or 12 years since we'd seen each other. Um, I mean, we both recognized what I had done and that it was wrong and why it was wrong and everything else, but it wasn't at the forefront of anything.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good thing. And then I found out just by accident, really. I happened to do a search on her name, a Google search, found out that she died last May. And, well, too bad I didn't get to say bye bye, but
That's Yeah, when it comes to people dying, it's not so much that they're suffering; it's that the people that are left behind have to deal with it. That's the big thing there.
oh, yeah, because, well, that was the other thing about internet searches. I used to put my name, well, my name was also his name. I was a namesake.
Uh-huh.
Um, into Google just to look and see if there was any news. And then one day I found a headstone, uh, a photograph of a headstone that was October of 2017. And I had found out that he had died September 2016. She had died May of 2017. And I said, okay, I guess I can close the book now because they had not talked to me, had not said a word to me since November 2011, when I finally came out to them. Because my thought was that okay, they were old. I didn't think they had that much mileage left, and I really didn't want to make a scene at a funeral because I mean by then I was well into my transition. It was going to be obvious, okay? So they might as well know. And they dropped me like a stone right there, and then so did the rest of the family when that happened. Um, but I'll tell you that 6 years between that happening and the time I found out that they had died were the best 6 years of my life because nobody was screaming at me that everything I did, said, thought, and was wrong simply because I did, said, thought, and was it. So I guess there was a good thing with that.
Yeah. Oh, geez, it's already 5 after 8. Wow.
Oh my.
I didn't even realize that's a wow. What a great talk. I
Yeah, I mean, Tempest Fugit. Or is it Tempest Fugit? Or Fugit? I don't know.
I
Who's the Latin expert in here?
I do have to get going here, but I wanted to thank you so much for coming on, Diana. This is awesome talking to you. I want to do it again too. I
Well,
am.
thank you for having me around, Johnny. Thank
I,
you for putting up with me.
hey, it's a pleasure putting up with you. Okay. Um,
Yay.
you want to plug your channel a little bit then, and what you're
Oh,
doing?
yeah, we might as well do that.
Hang up the phone.
My YouTube channel is The Lavender Lady. I had been spending some time ripping into the Catholics for some of their horrendous doctrine. And just recently, I've started to get more into LGBT activism. We had the stream on Sunday. We're going to have another one, as far as I know, this coming Sunday. I may make a regular thing of that if we could find some queer issues to talk about. You'd have to fill an hour or something like that. That would be a really nice thing. And I also am a regular with NCG, which stands for New Covenant Group. The guy who runs it calls himself a multi-axial theist. I still haven't figured out quite what it means.
I haven't figured that one out either. I looked it up, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It must be.
I think he coined it.
Yeah, I believe so.
He's a very, very dear person. He's a good friend.
I like him.
A very studied linguist, New Testament scholar, quite the iconoclast. His view of the scriptures is definitely not the view taken by the fundamentalist crowd.
Definitely not.
Yeah, that's what I do with my time. And well, I feed the cat as well, but
gotta
have to do that.
Well,
and thanks again, Johnny.
Well, thank you. I am going to sign off here, but I also wanted to say that I will be having Bionic Dance on. Kate will be on next Monday at the same time. And
Kate's a big sweetie.
Yeah, I love her. She's one of the people that got me to start doing crap like this. So, but anyway, I am going to say goodbye to everybody and thanks for stopping by. Oh, I almost forgot.
Yes, dear.
I just scheduled. The Wonder Lady is going to be on tomorrow night. I asked her to be on as a guest, and I'm going to have an extra show this week. And
hey,
I gotta have Faye on.
Absolutely! You just have to do that. Yes, it's not life without Faye around.
I know. Well, anyway, tune in tomorrow night then, guys, if you get a chance to, and we'll all see you. Take care.
Thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.